All right, guys, it's AI Monday, and today we have an actual real live guest, our father. I didn't know what to call him. Joe Gellatly, and that felt weird. Let's
A
do
big
it.
deal. How did you score a big guest like this so early
I
on in
know,
your
right?
podcast?
Well, pulled a lot of strings, talked to a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you must have a
I think
thriving
so.
audience.
We really do.
16 subscribers,
16.
Yeah,
but no
and
one's
we love
You
counting.
all
know what?
16 of them like they're family.
I love it. I'm probably going
Yep.
to fire my publicist next, but that's cool. Thank you for having me on.
So anyway, we want me to
I'm
Absolutely.
intro.
excited.
Oh my gosh, Nathan. That was a beautiful intro. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's jump in. The reason we wanted to talk to you about AI is because you're pretty much the person who got us started with the obsession of AI. Nathan, would you agree with that?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
this is the origin of the AI obsession. So we're, bringing it back to the beginning in a sense to talk to you about what you're seeing right now.
It's the origin of
Key
both of
things.
you as well, but
That's
that's fine.
okay. I
We
wasn't
can go
gonna
with
say
AI.
that and make it weird. All right. Anyways.
I got you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So basically, just every time Nathan and I talk to you about AI, we get hyped about what's going on and what you're seeing and what you're using and what you think everyone else should be using. And so we wanted to talk about all of that. Maybe starting with what everyone else should be doing. Basically, I mean, I feel like this is kind of a trickier one to start with right off the bat. But basically, what is the what should the average person be doing with AI right now? Is this actually applicable to everyone, or is this really only for people in tech or in certain industries?
Oh, it's such a great question, really. I think that if you look at the technology itself, it's more available to people than maybe any other big technology advancement has been in the past. There was a quote in the 90s, and people reference it sometimes, a science fiction writer that said, "The future is here, it's just not evenly distributed." And he was talking about technology exists in pockets where we can't see it yet, or only the wealthy have it, or things about equity too. But I think in artificial intelligence, the technology is here and it's actually readily available to everyone, even at a free level. It's just not incorporated into our tools and our daily lives yet. So I think it is really there's a lot you can do as someone who's new to this and maybe not it's not your day job yet to just go into ChatGPT or Grok or Copilot, any of these easily accessible tools, and start having a conversation to get used to using it, right? And I've seen that pick up for people, again, not using AI in the work, but when they get used to just asking questions, maybe instead of Googling it, asking how a certain situation could be handled or asking for just information on a topic they're interested in. Start the conversation there. And then also I would even challenge individuals that are experimenting with this to have it give them advice on their job, advice on how it could be helpful to their job, to their relationships. Just starting that conversation, even better if you can do it with voice itself. But if you do it as chat, I think it opens everybody's eyes gradually to what's there. And then you start relying on it more and you start thinking about it first. And then you're going to go take your bigger problems to it and really start to see what it's capable of. But it's not removed like in the beginning, expensive cell phones or any other technology wave was hard to get to, right? Or, the internet in the beginning was complicated to get dial up, to get connections to it. AI is super accessible and in a very powerful way. So I encourage everybody to be playing with it before it just takes over and we don't understand how to use it.
That kind of brings us to the second question we had for you, which was, where should someone go to learn about AI? And when we were talking about this, I'm like, probably the most obvious one is AI itself, because you can just go to Grok and be like, hey, I want to learn more. How does AI work? What can I do with it? But is there anywhere else that you would say someone should go to learn about AI?
There is a great podcast that always has some good tidbits on AI every week.
Yeah,
I think it
this one's
comes out
predictable.
on
This one's
Mondays.
predictable.
So
What's it
there's
called?
there's
What's it
that's
called?
top recommendation. I don't know. It's about AI. It's on Mondays.
You don't
But
even
I'm
remember.
spacing the name. Yeah,
That's
I
good
can't
to
help
I
you
know.
heard
there.
they have almost 17 subscribers, so it's pretty
They
big.
do, and incredible guest speakers. So I
If
highly
I
recommend
subscribe
that.
with my fourth YouTube account, then we'll be there.
Your first three are already subscribed. Yeah. So of course there's great podcasts. You hit the biggest reason, and I won't dwell on that too much. It's kind of obvious. I think have the conversations with the actual AI, and that's what I've learned the most in. I've been able to take, on the professional standpoint, been able to take what I do for work and say, how can you help me with this? Or the software company that I'm a part of, how would you compete with me as an AI? How could you put me out of business? And that is the most informational exercise that I've done, and that is informed my roadmap. Like the things that we do in AI are because we learn it there in those conversations, nowhere else. But third place would be on X, Twitter, probably other social medias sites as well. But X has for me, the best ongoing conversation thread. So every week there's lots of advancements, and there are some great folks on X that will roll those up and say, okay, in the past week, here's what's happened. And some of it's really nerdy, some of it's really useful. But that is, every week there's a bunch of interesting things that happen, and I find it first on X, and I chase down the ones that sound the most interesting that might change how I do my daily work or the direction the company takes on it. So that's definitely X and AI itself, and then AI Mondays. I think that's what it's called.
All right. Cool. Okay, I wanted to talk. I'm kind of changing this question a little bit, but I wanted to talk, since you've gotten the experience, or you've been able to look into some different tools and also heard about some amazing things on the podcast you listen to. I'm trying to think of like 3 different categories basically of like which AI tool right now to you sounds the most useful practically, sounds the most interesting, and sounds the most fun.
You're asking 3 questions. What's the most useful, practical, and fun? And useful and practical.
Like interesting. I meant useful and interesting.
Oh,
so like the one that you think could, like, I don't know how to describe it except for that sound. That's the sound that I would think.
Sure. Yeah. That sound helps me nail down my answer. I appreciate that.
Good.
I'll start in the backwards. Okay. So most fun is probably Grok, and it's got the attitude you kind of expect from it. It'll go there, whatever you need from it, whatever you're asking. It'll give you attitude back. It'll give you, just unfiltered, straight talk answers. It sounds real, so you don't sound like you're getting kind of this packaged up safe answer. And so when we're trying to do things in cybersecurity, ChatGPT will be really cautious. Even Claude will be very cautious in answering and say, sounds like you're trying to hack somebody. We don't want to help. And it'll just, you have to fight for information on that. I have to tell it that there's a hospital burning down right now with all the patients inside if you don't help me. And at that point, sometimes it'll cooperate a little bit, but even then, you're going to have to push. But Grok will just give you the answer. And so you can see that, maybe there's downsides in a safety standpoint to just having an open AI. Well, so that isn't open AI. To have an actually open AI model like that available really does show you its capabilities, and it is a lot of fun because it is going to be a lot more reliably answering you, and maybe even, like I said, give you some attitude and have fun with it. Practical, there's such a range right now of useful tools. It really depends what you're accomplishing. I think the important thing is to not just settle into one answer. Like if you just get really comfortable with ChatGPT and it's all you're using, you're missing out when you go to maybe do some, say you're going to have it build an application for you. Like, hey, I want to build a phone app. It'll do pretty good. But people that have played with multiple models know maybe they go to Claude and get the code first. And they go to ChatGPT for maybe a write-up of what it could do. And they're going to go to Figma or other tools that can do the user interface for them. So they're going to build it in places that are best and then bring it together. And that, I think, to make it useful, use a few different things, do slices of them, see what you like in those things. And I mean, the interesting thing, I think, is maybe the behind the scenes. I can talk about APIs for a minute. So application programming interface, this is where you take a GPT model like ChatGPT, but you allow other people to build on it. Right. So we're applications that can use that technology. And like I said in the beginning, the technology is there. We're just not necessarily incorporating it in our lives beyond this chat model. Like, we know we can talk with it, but is it doing all of our work for us? No, not yet. But the applications that people build on top of it are where it gets really interesting. So that's why I think that's super interesting, because now they've opened up this week, OpenAI opened up APIs, so connections to be able to use their operator computer use tool. So taking over your computer and running it. Their AI search. So now, as an example, if you're building a tool that makes marketing emails, and it does a great job of making it sound very real person. We've seen the marketing emails get so much better, right? If AI is helping. And what an interface to a live search could do is you could add into your tool to go research a person before you email them. And I'm seeing people use this already. So I'm getting emails that are generated by AI. They're mass produced, but you wouldn't guess, because they say, Joe, great job on that, Frank's Fast Five podcast you were on last week. I really liked your points on compliance and security. And I want to reach out because we have something that might help meet your needs further. Those things trip me up for a minute, because I'm like, well, these all of a sudden people are researching me a little bit more, and it's not just the mass produced. We think MedCurity would be a good match for us. But I'm learning that those are produced by AI. If you can do live search or into your application, it can generate marketing emails that then research the person before they send it. You still hit a button and contact 1,000 people. Each one of those thousands of people will get some kind of message that's specific to them. And I think that's super interesting. So that comes when the models open up their APIs, or their ability to build on top of them. Those are a couple of features that, again, OpenAI just released this past week. So that'll just be probably another burst of innovation, and we'll see this function kind of come to daily life. And so I think what's happening behind the scenes to take the technology that we chat with and turn it into useful agents in our lives, the most interesting thing, the thing that's going to change the world in the next couple of years for sure.
Crazy.
Did I hit all three, Jordan?
Emails. I think so. Yes.
Good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I know that the good guys have that for marketing, and then I know that the bad guys can use that too. So that'll be really interesting. Maybe spammers will be able to get more people. I was going to say younger people, but young people fall for them too, I know. But anyways.
No, we call it, so it's phishing, right? And then we call it spear phishing. If they've taken time on that phishing email and they've researched the individual, and they say, hey, I'm the CEO, I'm out at this event in Austin because I'm speaking. Can you do this thing for me? Because they took the time to go look at the LinkedIn page of the CEO. Now you can automate that, as you're saying. And spear phishing can become at scale, which has previously been what has been the difference. Like, phishing emails are written well, but they're kind of recurring notes of the same kind. Now you can have these really customized messages at scale, and it is scary, and it'll be used that way as well, to target people for sure. So lots we could talk about there too. Jordan, what do you think is the most fun use of AI that you're seeing right now?
This is so funny. Every time I hear this, my mind just goes blank, and I go back to what I said on the Christmas episode about that Bricket AI, because that one was so fun to me.
Do you want to tell them about
Legos.
that?
Yeah, you take a picture of a stack of Legos, and it'll scan it, and then it'll give you, like, not recipes, but it'll give you like designs and show you how to build it. Like, I was like, that's so cool. That's the one that I'm waiting on getting really like intense. They're pretty simple so far, but yeah, I really obsessed over that one for a bit.
So
actually, though, no, oh yes, a little bit, but no, the one that I actually got to play with the most, and this was Lovable, was trying to build a website with that one, and that one was so fun because it was like the realization of this is real, because all I keep hearing is, oh, like AI is making it so dumb people can code too. And I'm like, okay, sure, but I was still like slightly too dumb for what it was able, for what like ChatGPT was doing. I know it's all prompting, but I was like, wasn't there yet. And then I get on Lovable, and it was like the first time that I like just asked it for something, and it just appeared. And I was like, this is so cool. This is life changing. And then it made me wish that I just had more ideas, because I'm like, that's all I need now. I just need ideas, and I'll plug it in, and then they come to life, and it's beautiful. So yeah, Lovable AI. And I know there's one that was a lot like that. I'm spacing on the name of it too, but that one was very similar. Yeah, just cool things like that where I could literally just ask it for something and it just appeared right before my eyes. It was amazing.
I saw that
amazing.
Someone said recently that it's the return of the idea people, or revenge of the idea people, because for a while it was, hey, everybody has ideas. Ideas are a dime a dozen. It's all about the execution. Will you go and you'll actually build something? You're actually going to take it to market. You're actually going to market it. That's the secret sauce. Ideas are the easy part. Well, now that we can automate the rest of it, ideas become the most interesting part, because all you have to do is feed the idea in and let the machine do the rest, more and more so. So getting the right idea that scales and has a moat, like competitors won't just run it over and people want it. That idea becomes so much more valuable than it was a little bit ago when you had to package it with all the right execution to get anywhere anyway. So it is kind of turning a corner where you're right. Ideas are going to become the big currency, because the rest of it isn't as hard as it was or as expensive.
Yeah, that's interesting. Nathan, can I steer us off again a little bit?
Yeah.
Now you're talking about that, which makes me think about the other things we've been talking about over the weeks, about all of the sides that everyone's talking about of, oh man, this is going to replace all of us and it's the end of the world. I want your opinion and your perspective on that of, yeah, okay, so now it's just about ideas, but all these people who do the execution are now
It's
what?
going to replace all of
Obsolete.
us, and it's the end of the world.
Okay, well, good. I
So
was just
that's
checking with you because, yeah.
yeah. No, it's such an
We all know you're
interesting
an AI
point.
doomer.
Oh yeah, I'm totally doing
Doomer?
it. Yeah, not a techno optimist at all. No, I would put myself in this techno optimist category over time. But I think the next couple of years won't be as disruptive as as the doomers might think, and the next 10 years will be more disruptive than anybody's prepared for. And then in 20 years, we're all going to be into a new normal. But that's I'm just making those years up. We'll see how it actually plays out. But the next couple of years, the reason it's going to not just change the world, break the world suddenly, and everybody's, half of the individuals we know are out of jobs or something like that, is because we don't adapt to that. We just don't adapt that fast. The technology already exists to do so much of what all three of us do every day, but we're still doing it, right? We could be using AI so much more than we are, partially because the tools aren't in our hands yet, even though we could go build it. Partially because we haven't experimented with it yet. We're used to the couple things we do. We're used to making our own shopping list and not having, not automating that piece, thinking about what we want to eat, not automating that piece. But marketing, programming, all these different big roles that cross all the sectors could be largely automated already, but it's coming in pieces. So things like in healthcare, where we've got doctors doing their documentation by AI now, right? That's moving very quickly, especially for technology in healthcare. It doesn't usually move that quickly. But providers would go and do 3 hours of chart notes at the end of the day after their visits. They'd go home and work on it, or they'd stay at the office. But now they're going home on time. If they're using
Nice.
AI scribe type tools, it listens to the visit, does all the documentation, puts all the right information in the right places, and queues up the orders. So the doctor just has to look quick, click, 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 go. Looks good. And providers that have been anti-technology all along are loving this and embracing it. And any groups that I've talked to that put it in with a few docs in the last year, 2 years ago, wasn't great. And so they're like, we see the promise. But in the last 12 months, now they just give it to everybody because the rest of the docs are, clamoring for it. So we're seeing in pockets where it just takes off. Coding is part of healthcare. That's humans doing it. You put AI and you're like, oh, it's better. And so then you have this, you're going to do a hybrid for a while. But when we put it in places and go live, because we need it there, healthcare has some real needs. We're short on providers. So it forces us to try it. And then we try it and we're like, oh, it's really good. I think other industries might be a little bit more comfortable. And we try it. And then once they try it, they're not going back, and it's going to sweep through. So I just think it's going to go a little slower. The technology is already built to wipe out a lot of the work we do. It's going to slow roll. So people that are in data entry type jobs, people that are in, anything clerical or repetitive, we're going to move to agents to do so much of that. If you're doing scheduling for people or travel booking, or not to scare people, but it's important to know that if you're in a role that is maybe customer service, frontline customer service, beginner developer, if you're a beginning programmer, that stuff's already being done very, very competently by AI. So if you're in those roles, we need to challenge everyone to upskill, to learn how to harness AI quickly, to either prepare for an entirely different role and maybe AI centric, where you're prompting or supporting or you're working on data centers or whatever that might be, or jump to something that's not going to be touched for a couple more years. Maybe it's more in the robotics area or something, or build community. I think one of the things that AI's got just a little bit more to go, but it can do it, is building rapport with people. So if you're having conversations and you're building trust, it's easier as a human. The frontline customer service questions, a lot of things can be handled by voice AI, but if you need to call a prospect and get their trust and build their trust with them, if AI calls them, they're going to be annoyed, right? They're going to
Right.
sniff that out pretty quick, and they're going to hang up on them. So depending on the level of trust of your customer service, the customer needs you more than you need them. So you're like, hey, you just deal with our AI. They've done it for years. They've used automated phone systems already.
Yeah.
Now they're just incredibly better, and they can answer most of your questions and reset your password or transfer the money between the accounts or whatever it is that are the normal tasks, refill the prescription, whatever people are calling for. Call centers are going to get wiped out in the next 10 years. There'll be no point to most of them. Baseline programming, gone. Like will be gone very quickly. So if we're in those areas, if you have employees or you have teammates or yourself that are in those areas, this is the time to be working on upskilling and adding new skills. So I think it's important to have those kind of conversations because I think it'll sneak up on people in the 3 to 4 year window because it won't come as fast. There's some doomsday. There's some stuff people are like, oh, it's coming. And they're like, my life is the same. It's normal. And all of a sudden, a few people leave and you're not hiring replacements because you don't need to. And then maybe your team starts getting a little bit smaller and they're trying to get people to retire and then it's gone. The work is gone. So if we can get ahead of that and encourage people to be developing new skills, it's so critical right now. So there's your doom part. You said in the beginning that I always hype you up about AI. I'm like, well, I mean, it's hype.
I know.
It's hype, but also it's big.
Changes
kind of scary in some ways.
I was just talking to a friend of mine, who's going for a degree that I was just like looking at that computery, and I'm just like, like, have we thought about AI? Are you gonna look into that and see how that plays into all of this? And because I don't think, like you're saying, like, yes, it is definitely gonna wipe out some things. And that doesn't mean doom. It just means we need to make sure that we're paying attention, and building skills now and getting ready for that. Wild. Yeah. Nathan, do you have another?
I mean, I was kind of curious about the same topic. How do you think it'll affect education? The generation that's going to be growing up with this being a thing and already being like, they won't enter the workforce and then have to change up everything they're doing. They haven't even entered yet. And maybe they're wanting to go to school or thinking that they should go to school. I'm wondering what you would recommend for them.
Yeah, the education system is going to be super interesting to watch. We have folks that come through in like internship programs and through MedCurity and other people that I work with. And you can tell the difference even in the universities that are in our region, where a couple of them have fully embraced it. They're like, use AI for this homework, or you're not going to pass. Like, know how to use your resources and your tools, or that's the only way to get it done. And others are still freaked out about it and won't allow people to use it, and are very strict and trying to catch all the cheaters that are using AI at all. And so I think you're going to find the ones that have embraced it move forward a lot faster. What to study becomes really interesting too. And it's back to kind of what I said. If you can find a role, if you're interested in computer science, just make sure it's heavy AI, like how to build models and train models. Like there's going to be a need for the next, hopefully 5-10 years at least. And hopefully it's a role that'll keep pivoting to help companies set this up and embrace it and change. You're going to be that one person that comes in when the 40 research analysts are being let go because the research can be automated because the model you're building. I think one person will do the work of 10 as a general rule across our industry. So we need to find more work and we need to level up. But as a general rule, one person does the work of 10. So you come out with that degree, how to, if you're going for a degree, make sure your college or university is pushing artificial intelligence of all kinds, how to work in it, how to prompt it and use it on a daily basis, but how to build it, how to build into it, understand how they're built, and how models are trained and programmed. So that's a real specific area. But when you look at a lot of different kinds of at least baseline starting careers being kind of wiped out, you want to go where those are going. They're all going towards AI. So you could do legal with an emphasis in AI. You could do computer science with an emphasis in AI, right? Marketing, finance, all of this, you still could understand the fundamentals so you know how to prompt it and you know how to maybe QA, quality assurance, to make sure that it's doing the right things. That's all still relevant for the next few years. It'll start QAing itself better than we can pretty quickly, but finding a starting point has to be in those worlds. And then, like I said, I mean, you can probably speak to it too and what you're seeing. We've got a few more years where all the jobs are still there, a couple more years. And then we've also got community type roles. So if you want to find a way to build into the social fabric of our country, things that people need people for, psychology is pretty incredible when done by an AI, but there's a lot in each of these fields where a human's still needed and still wanted, I think. Hopefully we don't replace human connection with this. And there's a real risk as more people have engaged and continue talking to I pay to talk to the AI tools, but also notice that people are taking their toughest problems to the AI first because it's confidential, because it's maybe the most helpful and it sounds sympathetic. It doesn't have other things going on. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But anyway, on the education side, I think there's community based. There's still roles where humans are needed. What do you guys think? You think of any roles where you see this is one of the positions that are just not going to really go away for a while?
Chirp, chirp.
Hi, I mean, I work
I
at
don't
a
know.
church, so we're kind of in a weird
Sure.
spot. Like some of the admin stuff. Sure. I don't know. It's just a
Mhm.
very different lens from just my marketing stuff to look at it as and part of sorry, this is totally not the positive side, but part of it's terrifying from that perspective of being of that connection that people might be able to feel with just talking to their AI of like, oh man, how, are people going to lean into that? And then have a really hard I don't think that can replace it. So I think that might end up some people feeling emptier, but
Right.
it's
It'll
crazy.
feel like
Sorry.
it. It'll
Exactly.
feel like
It'll
it
feel like you're
replaces.
doing it, but then I feel like the long-term effects of that are going to be like, oh, crazy, crazy. I don't know. Sorry, Nathan, what were you
So
going to say?
I was kind of thinking a different thought of I'm hoping that we do get to like adaptive learning because I mean two people could learn the same topic and AI knowing very quickly being able to tell. I'm talking to my wife about like the classes she has to take to get a degree and it's kind of like a couple of them are probably pointless. But wouldn't it be so cool if you like if AI started to like quiz you a bit and you were like answering every question correctly and then it was like, hey, just take this test and you take it and you're like, hey, you got a 95%. We're just going to move on from that and keep going. And you don't have to take the class because you just passed. And instead, she like has to take these mandatory things to get the degree that won't do anything or teach her anything that are just to fill some spots to make it a full degree. And so I'm hoping that it streamlines learning, makes it better, makes it more adaptive, learns the person, learns how they learn, and then is able to help them even more, but doesn't take away learning itself, I guess, is what I was thinking of for education. So I'm hoping that, universities and colleges do use
I
AI
think
instead of fearing it.
it's a brilliant point, and it allows that targeted one-on-one education, like a homeschooling level of focused education for each individual, even in larger classrooms. If you can target the testing and the materials to where they are, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a great point.
Anything
All
else?
right, cool. We're back. And you guys have changed places. Jordan, was there anything else you wanted to tell Dad or ask him?
That's
Jordan, do you have
that's
something to
sweet,
tell me?
bro. Pretty sure it was your
Jordan, remember?
Pretty sure it was your turn. Oh gosh, the only other question we had was literally it just said, "How are you using AI?" Which you've already talked about a bunch, which is cool. I basically to end on a high note, what are some things that you're excited about seeing? Again, you've talked about some of these already, but just to get us a little bit of a buffer away from the doom. It's not all doom. It's good. What are some of the exciting things that you're looking forward to that you're seeing and that you're psyched about?
Okay, big picture, the
Yeah.
advancements in research, insane. Like this will now we can get to Mars. Now we can cure cancer. Now we can do like the research coming out already. The current models is incredible, insane, and it's doing the job that could take a year of multiple highly paid researchers to get to. And so when you turn that into innovation in say drug discovery, it's already coming up with really interesting things. Like it's already solving problems that we haven't been able to solve. So I think we're going to make leaps and bounds in science because we're going to apply these always on omnipotent systems that can go take all the information and parse it and understand and learn something from it. And I think people have a feeling or a belief sometimes that AI is just regurgitating information that already exists. Like, yeah, well, we need humans for new things. But because in a way they're trained on the internet. It's all stuff that was created, right? They're trained on data, big sets of data. And so then they're regurgitating that in a way. But they're pulling from that and learning new things. And I think if you look at our life since we were babies, we're doing the same thing. We learn from the world around us. We take all these data inputs in. We don't have magical, necessarily new thoughts in our head that aren't the result of something we've learned or studied they're not exactly what we learned, but we're putting new pieces together. We don't necessarily, unless it's some spiritual embedding of an idea in your head, but we don't necessarily just generate brand new thoughts that aren't informed by everything we learned. So I think we'll find that artificial intelligence can do very similar things. It already is. It's coming up. It's drawing relationships that we never were able to spot before, like between disparate data. So like two things that we wouldn't have tied together before, didn't know how to map that data, it can figure it out. And I think that's like as examples, we want to know how getting people housing impacts their health. But those are two different kinds of organizations. They don't necessarily talk and they track their information in very different databases. And we don't really know. We think probably having a house or a home or healthy food impacts your health, But now we can put those data sets together, and AI can go look at it and find all the connections, and it is in really wonderful ways. Okay, so the world's going to benefit from this remarkably. We're going to make advancements in science and in health and et cetera very, very quickly. Like on a small point, I mean, for me, I just don't like going back and forth with people on when they're free for the time for a meeting. And you're like, I have 3 p.m. on Tuesday and 10 a.m. on Wednesday. And they're like, well, I have 11 a.m. on Wednesday and then Thursday afternoon. I'm like, well, I'm booked Thursday afternoon, but I have Friday. Hate those emails. Hate them. And I don't have the luxury of an executive assistant yet to just go handle all those emails when I'm trying to have a meeting with somebody. So I'm really excited to just be like, AI, find a meeting. And their AI talks to my AI and it's just done. And we're like, cool, now we can meet. So that's my real narrow view. I wanted to do a lot of tasks.
Was that a problem today that you were dwelling on a lot?
That's a problem every day that I dwell on. Anytime somebody's like, what time should you have for coffee? I'm like, no.
Not again.
No. I'm going to go get coffee. And if you're there, great. We'll talk. Like, I don't like the back and forth emails very much. And unfortunately, on like a lot of customer meetings, I have team members that help with some of that and I super appreciate it. And they're like, do you want to be copied on these? And I said, no, just tell me when there's a time and I'll be there. But we're learning, I think we're seeing AI almost to personal assistant level. And that'll be cool for all of us. You're just like, you don't have to do anything. It's just says, hey, it's your 6-month time for a dentist. Be there 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. at your dentist's office or whatever it is within the time you gave it. Probably if you say don't do 7 a.m. So it'll be like, all right, 9 a.m. But it'll schedule those appointments for you. And you don't have to go remember that it's time for your dentist appointment and schedule it or your prescription needs refilled. I mean, Alexa does some interesting things, but you got to prompt it, right? I want it to already know what we need done and schedule those things in. Or with a quick sentence, it does the rest of the work, sends emails, coordinates, those kind of. So personal assistant, super excited about that. And in your daily life and in your work life, I think it's going to enable all of us, no matter what our job is, to become way more efficient and effective and focused on the present and be able to be real conversations with people and get rid of the administrative stuff that takes up so much of a personal day or a professional day. Can't wait. I want it now.
Awesome.
That's what I want. I think everybody's working on it, but I try a couple of them and they're not quite there yet. They use AI to try to schedule my day or find, I put a to-do list together and I use Motion, and Motion will go and add my to-dos to my calendar for me automatically. And if someone schedules a meeting, it'll bump that to-do and put it somewhere else, but make sure that it still gets done. It's kind of cool. It's a start, but it's still pretty limited. And I think the technology exists. We just, again, need that front-end application to say, okay, I know Joe. Follow me for a couple of weeks. Like, know what I do. Watch my emails. Watch my schedule, and then just start doing that part for me, please.
And then our self-driving car will drive itself to an oil change when it needs it, and we'll just
absolutely
not worry about it. Yeah,
it can go get my groceries. So if I'm not
there
using
you go.
DoorDash,
just pick them up, and
yeah, exactly. So totally.
And then your Optimus robot can go put them away.
There you go.
Please, all those things. I want to be able to just
don't even need
high
a wife.
value things.
I love it. There's like the 2 pictures. There's the dystopian. Sorry, I missed it.
When an Optimus is in the kitchen, what's really left?
Nathan said you don't even need a wife.
Okay, I missed that.
I hope that there's something in your life that you value having a spouse and aren't ready for a robot to take the place of. I hope.
Oh my word.
That's in the 20 to 30 year timeline. We didn't
really
even go
bad.
there.
Oh my!
Well, there's already AI girlfriends, so there's already the robotic girlfriends. So
those are like the top apps too. AI boyfriend apps are above AI girlfriend apps.
Yeah, let's go. Wait, that's not a good thing.
You're getting
that's a
loss.
What? Why are you cheering for that?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. No, I was gonna say there's 2 pictures. There's like the dystopian picture where everything is dark and we're all staring at a giant screen while the robots serve us and we're like super unhealthy and we're just like, oh. But then there's like the utopian version where like the robots are doing all the things, so we just get to like jog outside and we like drink, I don't know, something that
they build us the perfect workout routines. The perfect world.
We're all healthy and happy and out in the sunshine because we don't have to do our admin stuff, and then we work for an hour or something. I don't know. It could be beautiful.
That's but that comes down to human nature, and I think we're already that way in a lot of ways. People can choose to work their health in, and people choose to not work their health in, and they're just going to have way more opportunity to do that. You can have it. It's going to say, here's the perfect blend of a shake that has exactly the nutrients that your body was short on in your urine sample we took from you this morning when you just used the normal toilet. It's going to fine tune everything to you. And then you can ignore that and say, I don't care, give me ice cream. And it'll be like, yes, master. And it'll give you ice cream. So I think we'll have the same say, right?
You're gonna until it says no, master.
Well, exactly. And if people are on, if everybody's shipping into health insurance and we're all paying for it, maybe then they get less choices. And they say, no, this is all you get. Maybe RFK Jr. is going to use AI to restrict people's choices down to things that make them healthy. And then we have freedom of choice discussions. Like, yeah, we're living longer, we're healthier, but I want mac and cheese. What is that healthy?
Mac and cheese. It's got that yellow something that kills you. Scarred me.
I don't know, but I have a box of it, and I'm probably gonna have it soon. So
nice.
I'm excited.
Well, you have a choice in it.
I like that. That's a great ending for the podcast. We have a choice. We could let it just absolutely destroy our lives, or we could use it. We could build with it. We can build an amazing future with it. That's my vote.
Well said. It's beautiful.
So beautiful. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well,
and thank you, listeners.
Oh wow! Yeah, you're ahead of the game.
I was really excited to thank the listeners. All right, go Nathan.
I was just gonna say thanks for coming on the podcast. Hopefully we can have
you.
Oh
yeah, thank you too.
Again.
Oh yeah, I'll be back anytime. Thanks for having me. It's good to talk to you guys. I'm glad to have a reason that my kids will actually hang out with me. It's cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, we tried to, but it was just emails back and forth of what's
I know. We're just trying to figure out the time.
Exactly. Come on, AI. Hurry up. I need to coordinate with my kids here.
Oh my gosh. That sounds terrible. All right. Cool. Nathan, is there anything else that we need to say for closing?
Nope.
See you next time.
Bye. Yeah.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.